Hello, good morning. Yeah, this is again we are welcome to this MIS software system, that is the MIS theory part that we have been discussing. So yesterday we covered unit 3. Today we will be covering unit 4 also, right? So unit 4 deals location of MIS in the organization concept and design. This means that where exactly the location of MIS is there in the organization and what does it do in terms of the conceptual level and in terms of the design level, right? So this is what we are expecting to do, and it is a very important topic in the sense that we need to understand what exactly MIS sits in the organization, because it is related to the design of the MIS, right? Whenever we are designing the MIS, we need to know the location. In a rough sense, you can say that what exactly MIS is supposed to do, how MIS is going to benefit the person, how MIS is seeing things from different perspective, and how MIS is impacting the stakeholder. So first and the foremost thing is support the business processes. Now what do we mean by the business process? Business process is a term which is used for carrying out any activity in the organization. Carrying out any activity in the organization means that what the organization does internally. For example, in an education institute, it is also an sort of an organization. You have examination department. So what exactly examination department does? It floats the examination scheme, it floats the roll numbers, it floats the checking of the answer sheets to the faculties, it floats so many things to the various persons. So that is one business process, right? One business process in the same, like saying detailing out the examination schedule, that is one business process. Then checking of answer sheets is another business process. Releasing the result is another business process, and so on and so forth, right? Every department in the organization follows some business process, which means that processes are used to get the work done in the organization, right? So here what does the MIS does? It treats input as a request from the customer and output as services to the customer. What does this mean? That whatever the input that goes into the MIS, it generates as a service to the customer. That means what the customer wants. In other words, the students want the examination schedule, the students want the result of the examination. So these are services to the customer. Services, as we all know, are intangible things that take place there, right? Services are the intangible thing that is used as an experience. They are different from the manufacturing of the product, where you take the product along with it in your hand and you can bring it home, whereas services are the experiences. For example, what I mean by experiences, it means that what impression you have. For example, when an exam schedule is floated on the internet or on the WhatsApp group, so you have an experience. Oh, they have not given any break for this paper. This paper requires more time. We hardly get one day to prepare, and so on. So that is the experience. Experience means that you are looking from the constraint perspective, right? So whatever be the input, so input here in this sense means whatever papers you are delivering, right? Whatever papers you are delivering, that is what it is there, right? Inputs to the customers and then outputs as a services to customers. Support current operations and use the system to influence further way of working. So support current operation, this means that currently what the examination is doing, and currently what the examination department is doing, that is the current, that is like preparing the examination schedule or preparing the examination result. So that is the current operation, and how that is going to influence, that is the process that is going to influence the development of the exam development, of the MIS system. So that is what is mean. Support operations of business organization. This means that what operation the business is doing. For example, by giving timely information, maintenance and enhancement, which provides flexibility in the operation of an organization, right? Business operation, that means timely information, accurate info, these are all support functions. These are all support functions for the MIS. For example, if the examination schedule is not released in the appropriate time frame, then in that case what will happen, it will put too much strain on the students will get confused, right? And even if there is a clashing in the examination part, then also it is an ambiguous. So in that case what happens, the quality factor is compromised. Student will confuse that at the same time how he or she can give two examination. So there, that support information pertaining to the quality of the examination schedule is not taking place as per the standards, right? So MIS must provide flexibility to detect the changes, to make the appropriate changes, and so many things are there in the organization, right? So next is to support decision making. To support decision making, first is, what is decision making? Now in simple terms, decision making means you have many options, and out of those options you have to choose only one. So that is what decision is. But then decision making is not an easy task if there are many decision alternatives. That means you have several alternatives and you are required to choose one. Also, if there are number of complexities are involved, then the process of making decision is very complicated, right? For example, if you have to go from your home to your college or office, then there are several options. You can walk, you can take a cab, you can take bike, you can take a public transport, you can take metro. And if you take metro, then other options are there. Metro has a fixed time, right? Time of running. Metro may not directly lead you to your office. You have to get down some 2-3 kilometers before your office, then again you have to take some alternate means. So these are the complexities. Similarly, in the case of auto and other things, the price may be very high or it will drop you well before your office, right? All these things are taking time to make decision at an organizational level. That means at the level of the chief executive officer, the decision making takes many complexities, and the reason is there are so many constraints, so many things to look for. For example, the chief executive officer has to look at the applicable laws of the country, the applicable global policies of the company, the applicability of the local laws of the place where the unit is being set up or it is positioned, the religious sentiments that are attached with the product, the means of promotion. All these are complex things, and out of these complex things, the CEO has to take the decision, right? So that is what they support in decision making. And it is not only the CEO, it is also the manager, the project manager, that need to take decision. For example, the project manager has to take the decision pertaining to timely finishing of the project. So timely finishing of the project means that whatever be the constraints, the project has to be finished by that time. If an employee is on leave, then he has to arrange another employee which will carry out the work of the person who has taken leave. Similarly, if the resources are falling short, he has to take the decision how to manage the shortfall of these resources. So in this case, what happens, MIS supports the manager, right? How MIS supports the manager in decision making? MIS provides the pertinent, the accurate information to the manager, and they have to make decision based on that information. For example, if a person is going on a leave, it is a planned leave, then MIS will provide the amount of work that person does, the amount of work that is left, the amount of work that can be done by other persons, the amount of work that cannot be done by person, and if it can be done by person, when that person is being free or is he allocated to the other project, the billing that that person is generating. So all these are different factors which MIS is able to help the manager in taking the decision, that is the decision which he has to act, and based on his action he has to ensure that the work gets done, right? So MIS also support managers in decision making to meet the goals and objectives. So see, every organization, every work, no matter how small or no matter how large, has goals and objective. Objective means that what is the end result of this process. Goals mean what he wants to achieve by completing the process. So that is what it is there. Different mathematical models are developed, and by using appropriate information technology software, they develop the strategy, right, to meet competitive needs. So all this is being done for the purpose of beating the competition, right? So MIS is based on several mathematical operations, and those mathematical operations utilize IT software, and these IT software take data as input and generate the required report or the necessary layout through which managers are in a position to take decision. A very good example is our mark sheet, the mark sheet which we get from the CBSE board or from the ICSE board or from the Delhi University. So that mark sheet, that marks are stored on the server, they are picked up, and then they are prepared in the form of a mark sheet, and based on the mark sheet the principal takes a decision whether to promote the student to the next higher class, or where to place him in A category student or B category or C category, or to provide him the elective subject which are available based on the seats and the other things that are opted for. Strategies for an organization. Today, each business is running in a competitive market. MIS support organization to approach strategies for the business to ascend in a company. So what basically this means that today each and every business unit is working in a highly complicated and complex a business environment. What does it mean? That there is hyper competition, and it is this hyper competition which is generating complexities every now and then, right? Which is generating complexities every, and managers are required to make decisions to survive in the market, and for which they need the data, they need the information to make their decision, which will help them to sail the competition. To sail the competition means to beat the competition. As an example, you can see today we are seeing that too many movies are being released, but only one of them is successful. Why? The reason is that this particular movie, which is successful, is able to beat the competition. How? By analyzing what the customer wants, what time it should be released, the timing of the release, what the customer wants, how it is going to filter those customer requirements for specific needs. So this is what that competition is all about, and MIS is going to provide them with all the help that they need, right? And it will not only help them, it will provide them the clue, right? It will provide them the clue to evolve appropriate. That means not only evolve means to come out with appropriate strategies which will help them to beat the competition, right? Evolve, which will help them to beat the competition. That means new strategies that they would be using so that they can beat those things, right? This is what they want to, and MIS is going to provide that kind of data, that kind of information which you can choose, right? So we move to the next slide. Qualified system and management staff. That means what? Qualified system and management staff means, this means that the staff which is there in the organization which is managing the MIS department, they are all qualified in the sense they know what the technical requirements are, what the software requirements are, what the hardware requirements are, and they are well versed in mutual understanding. That means in understanding the roles and responsibilities of each other, right? So this is what they want, that mutual understanding, how they are going to implement the MIS, how they are designing the MIS, what it is being done, all those things they are doing. So qualified and management system and management staff. So this basically means what exactly is the information, how it is being floated, how it can take. System and computer expert, that means people who are managing the MIS, they are able to understand the system. The system here means how the various processes, the structure of the working of the business unit. Computer expert means those people who are able to do good work in the computer, who are well versed in programming language, right? And they are very much expertise in their subject area, right? And they are also capable of understanding management concept. So this means that the person who are managing the MIS cell are very efficient. Their conceptual clarity is very great. They understand what this management control stands for and how it can be improvised further, what data this management control is generating, and what can be done to capitalize on this data so that MIS would be able to generate the requisite information. They should be clear about the and information. So all these persons are clear about the process of decision making and information requirement for planning. Right, let me give an example what is being discussed over here. For example, one of the management control, so I'll take an example of say your educational institute. Right, in your educational institute there are a lot of management controls you see. First management control is the issue of the identity card. Let us take it so that identity card is one of the management control. So this identity card, what the institute is doing, it is taking appropriate actions, genuine action, so that only the genuine student is able to enter the institute. There is no outside student who can enter and who can do any of the mischief. Right, that is one management. So MIS would be able to capture data that who are the genuine students, they have entered the institute, at what time they have entered and what time they have left the institute, and how many hours they were available in the classroom or they were available in the canteen, how much time they spend, what books they have borrowed. All this is an example of various management control. Right, the understanding of problems asked by concern, they should also be clear about the process of decision making. So based on this, the persons are clear what decisions are needed. For example, if an unauthorized student enters the college premises, then in that case what are the actions to be taken? Should he be scolded, reprimanded, or maybe unintentionally he has entered, right, or sometimes intentionally also? Then what are the consequences, what actions are required to be undertaken? So this is all what their knowledge is concerned, and MIS is going to provide those things. Then another is management experts understand quite clearly the concepts and approaches of a computer. That means what are the basic concepts, what are the operations of a computer, and what are the people who are going to use are comfortable with the MIS software as such, in the case of designing, in the case of feasibility study, in the case of problem resolution, in the case of many other perspectives. Right, so what does this mean? This means that the information generated by management information system software, the persons who are using it are quite aware what they want out of this MIS, and what they want means in terms of concepts, in terms of designing, in terms of developing the software, in terms of implementing the MIS. So what do we mean by implementing? See, MIS is basically a software driven system which is used for generating various types of reports, and it is these reports which help the persons to take decisions in the sense that will help the organization. For example, a management may be interested in knowing how many persons or employees in the production department are present today, or how many of those individuals who have taken restricted leave today, right? So this is the requirement of the management, and how this information is displayed by the software, that is whether the software is able to provide this thing or not, and what possibilities exist to see how can best the work be done in the absence of these people, that is who can replace for the time being, who which employees can do the work of the person who has taken RH, and so on and so forth. Then the next is the future perspective. Future perspective is really a great concept, in the sense that MIS should not be a static thing in the sense that it should be able to see what exactly the new requirements in future would be occurring, right? What new requirements in future should be occurring. That means because it is a dynamic business world, and in a dynamic business world, what happens is the fact that changes are very fast, and business units are required to adopt to these changes, right? It is a challenge to keep up with the pace. They want it that way, so it is really a great thing, and this is possible only if the business is able to look into the future. Look into the future means anticipate how the world is going to be different, how the customers are going to like this new concept. A typical example and a very good example is the fact is of space travel. Space travel means where commercial flights are able to take people to space. For example, 1.5 years or so, maybe 2 years, there were two space flights. One was by Elon Musk, right? And how Elon Musk used that concept to make four people travel the space for 15 minutes. These people travel the space and they came back, right? So those are the future perspective, because now it is moving beyond the geographical boundaries of the earth, and MIA should be able to see that it is able to provide all these future requirement. And how it will done? By regular monitoring in the sense that what the customer is wanting, how the global landscape is changing, what new things has come into the market. In other words, the MIS should be able to scan the internet, pick up the relevant information which is going to influence the business world, how they would be doing it, and all these things are there. That is what it is going to impact the future. Then again, it is support to the top management. This is very important part of MIS. Unless the MIS is able to support the top management, every component of MIS is a waste of time, and ultimately that MIS part would be dropped. In other words, the top management must ensure that they are able to derive the information which they want for running the business unit. If that information is not available, or they are unable to fetch this information, then in that case MIS would not be an advantage, rather than it would be a disadvantage. right? It would be a disadvantage in the sense that management will not spend money for establishing an MIS, for using an MIS, and for doing many other work which enable him to get the competitive superiority, right? For a manager to be effective, it must receive full support of top man. This is the bottom line. The top management must see the value of MIS being implemented in the organization. If that value is not coming, then nothing is going to come out. Reasons for this are: support managers are usually we do not receive the support. The resources involved in computer are larger, going and larger be important gain. So this is that these are some of the drawbacks why this MIS is sometimes resulting in a failure, because the support manager, sometimes it happens, and it usually happens, not sometimes, over a period of time people stop giving support. That's giving support means they are not utilizing the MIS for the purpose of making decisions, maybe due to lethargy, maybe they stop believing value from it, maybe they have started seeing more advanced MIS from the competitors, or they have grown their knowledge level, capability level, which is above management level. So all these things are used for the downfall of MIS, right? Managers do not support, they become lethargic, they do not support, and the resources which are involved in MIS, they are downgraded mean they are deployed at some other places for the work for which they are not qualified. And moreover, the resources may be growing. So resources means what? The data is always growing in the sense that as we move to the internet, large amount of data is being generated. So this data is commonly known as 5V of data, or big data. V standing for volume, velocity, veracity, right? So all these things are getting exponentially increased, and this is putting a pressure on the MI. In other words, all this is indirectly telling the MIS to upgrade yourself. Do not become complacent. World is changing faster and faster, and competitors are evolving themselves. They are doing 100 good job, they are evolving themselves, and then that is what it is there, right? So this is some of the drawbacks. Of other drawbacks of MIS is that the information updation is not done on a regular basis. In other words, because MIS depends on data, and if data is not updated regularly, then it will lose its value. It will stop giving the purposeful information for which it is trying to exist. So all this is coming out that way only, right? All this is coming out that way only. So in that case, it is to be taken care. Then common database is a term wherein all the data is stored simultaneously in the sense that it is an integrated collection of data. And integrated means it combines data from various sources means, for example, you have examination department, you have fee collection department, you have HR department. They are all carriers of data. Carrier means they generate data and then they use that data or carry this data to get their work done. Even if the work involved is the integrated preparation of report. Integrated means the combined report that is to be generated. They provide that data, but then this data provision is not now, and but the fact that this data is stored at a central location. A software system pulls up that data, a common data as superfile, and consolidate and integrate data records stored in a collection, and that is what it is does, right? For example, you can take a very good example of a common database is the WhatsApp software. WhatsApp software, what we do, we generate or we create many types of data. Types of data means we type the message, we post the audio file, we post the video file, we post the text messages, we post PDF file, we post Word file, XLS file, doc file, and many other types of file. All this data, right, all these files or this data is stored in the common database, that is which is the server, WhatsApp server. So from there that data is pulled up by recruiters, by business person, and then by the WhatsApp owners, and then they process those data, and then they call up persons to for further negotiations and other things. Control and maintenance. Control and maintenance is very important term. In a sense, control means who is the owner of MIA. That means who is the person who is responsible for MIS, who is responsible for maintaining the MIS, how it is going to take place. All this is a part of controlling the MIS. Maintenance means how the changes are taking place, how those changes can be done. That for example, if a person's address has changed, then MIS will prompt that this person has changed or it needs to be updated at so many places, right? But if a common database is there, common server is stored there, then that person would that change in direction would be implemented or seen at several places, right? So that is the meaning of maintenance. On the other hand, if one person has left the organization, then his entire record needs to be deleted, or alternatively, if a person has been transferred to another branch, then also his data is to be deleted and to be put into other place, or many other things are there how they are going to do that, right? So this is what control and maintenance of. Then again, this is the exercise in MIS. Just go through the question. I am giving you 2 minutes, then we'll discuss. Which of the following is applicable for? That means you have to see what is applicable. It supports top management, it supports lower staff members in the hierarchy, all of the above. The answer is all of the above. Which is not true? It is based on data, and both of these are true, both of these are not true. So in this case, both of these are true, right? So that is what we have covered with location of MIS in the organization, concept and design. So again, just recapping, what do we mean by organization concept? That means what exactly is MIS when we talk with reference to the organization. And design means giving shape to the basic requirement. That is the purpose of design, right? Then again recap, support of the business process I have already explained, means what the work is done in an organization in a structured manner. That is a business process. For example, submission of fee. or issuing a book from a library. There is a distinct process for getting a book issued from the library, and this includes so many things. For example, viewing the catalog, right? Viewing the catalog, going to the counter where that book is stored, viewing the content and deciding if it is correct. Then we get the library book issued, right? So this is what we do things. Then support operations of business, that means MI is used for as a support function. It is not a core function, because core function are the business processes, so it is always a support function for the business organization. That means it support various types of processes in the organization, and see what it is there. To support decision making, MIS supports the decision making by employee in their daily operations, right? It helps them to take the decision, right? So these are the things which are there. Okay, so let's close this and we'll move on to some other unit, which is unit number 5.